Space nerds. I knew this community liked space games, but with the response to the first video, I now realize it is also an obsession for you guys. So we're gonna keep going. Welcome to the second episode of Space Games Weekly, my weekly news show that looks at space games, and also a lot of sci-fi games I like. I'm looking to deliver you guys the good news, the rumors, the release dates, all the stuff that comes out regarding space games every week on Monday, right here on Space Tomato Gaming. This week, Star Citizen has put out a big info drop on their plans for audio design, realistic audio, and things like that. Falling Frontier shows us some more very nice ambiance in space from the homeworld-like RTS game with a little expanse sprinkled in. Starship Simulator, which is not one we've talked about in a while, has dropped a pretty good news drop, and it's looking really interesting. And then we also have several other multiplayer space-based games where you can play with your friends in PvP and PvE environments. Clearly there's a lot to get through, so let's jump straight into the news. In Star Citizen, while there are more hotfixes and technical updates continuing to try and stabilize the ongoing event where you are going out and getting cargo and mining and just retrieving goods to sell, things are still pretty rough for many players. While the maintenance sessions have been helping over the last week, things still seem to degrade after a few days. That being said, players have hauled more than 300 million SCU of cargo for this event since it started just a couple weeks ago. So clearly somebody's doing something out there. And it has evidently brought a lot of players back into the game to play while also, shoving others away. It is a good event, it's just not running well. And the way these patches keep dropping this year, I think is hurting some of the confidence players have in their ability to continue improving playability. I can confirm though, there have been members making amazing feedback posts on the forum, and hopefully CIG takes that to heart because I think there are some good suggestions and there's not really too much they need to do to make this event run well. 4.3 was also announced last week and it'll be going into Evocati testing this week. That's going to be closed testing, but we will be able to share the info about it, so check back on Space Tomato 2 if you want to hear more about that. They wrapped up the week with a Star Citizen Live talking about the audio direction for the game. They're bringing in a new audio director for just Star Citizen, which I think is a good thing. We've been talking about how Squadron 42 has been taking so much of the development power in this project, and to see a dedicated team starting to form for Star Citizen's audio is good. Seems a bit late, but audio does generally come towards the end of these development cycles, and I think they're just now starting to get to the point where they want to refactor, once again in the refactor, all of the things that we're doing. So in this episode, he actually discussed how he wants to go through the game and update all the legacy effects, things like ship flybys, locomotion SFX like footsteps on different materials, weapons and vehicle sounds, and game ambiance. They discussed the rather lackluster impact of the ships and the sounds in the game, and generally because the new director, Simon Gershon, comes from a cinematic background, I do think he could be pretty successful in doing this. The way he talked, I think, built a lot of confidence in people that he was ready to take this system by the reins and really get it up to snuff, but it's difficult to know because Star Citizen's development is, again, just so ripped apart by Squadron 42 that sometimes their priorities shift out of nowhere. The main way they're going to update all this is through the system called Star Audio. It's a rename of Claudius, which we've known about, and it will physicalize all the sounds and allow the designers to get more into the game and actually put the sounds where they want them to be. This will be nice. Now we won't be able to hear NPCs yelling profanities at us through 20 meters of rock and concrete in a bunker. The team also highlighted their realistic sound effects continuing development, which you can hear right here. Most interestingly though, as I said just a little bit ago, it seems like Squadron 42 is still just pulling a lot of resources from this team. In this specific interview, we heard them mention that things like ship flybys have fallen down the list of priorities due to just not having the people to do them on the team. As we can see, they're building that team out now, but it's taken a while. They also named VoIP, in my opinion, one of the most important systems in an MMO. It's still built for 50-player servers, 3.0, which launched 7 years ago. And unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's getting a fix anytime soon, which again, it's just like MMO priorities, FPS single-player priorities. Squadron 42 doesn't need VoIP. And then finally, rain and weather sound effects were actually rushed into the 4.2 update because they just were needed for that update. This to me shows that their increased cadence this year, the way that they're releasing their updates almost every month, is starting to put some strain on their ability to not only go back and fix the things they've put in to make them better, but also just to get the stuff in a quality way on the first go. That's become more and more apparent, I think, as the year has gone on, and hopefully the second half of the year sees that slow down a little bit, maybe. Hey, have you heard of Falling Frontier? Do you like space ambiance and really cool scenes from high above a battlefield? Check this out. This amazing RTS game continues development, and it's one of the most exciting projects I've been following over the last few years. Basically, imagine if The Expanse met Homeworld with a little bit of Stellaris sprinkled in. Sounds like a good time, right? Developer Todd at Stutter Fox Studios, I believe, has been taking this on solo or in small numbers for quite a while now, but it's been a joy to follow. He actually is very active on the Discord, talking to community members and dropping sneak peeks here and there. This last week, we've gotten to see a couple concept ship designs, as well as a nice video of some ships departing from and docking with a space station. The game itself is built with tactile movement. All of the bullets that you're firing can interact with asteroids and wreckage and get blocked, so your position in the battlefield makes sense. Ships will disperse escape pods if they get destroyed, and you have to go pick them up because they're valuable people. Unless you're a jerk. And overall, it's looking just like a really cinematic, immersive RTS that might actually drag me back into the genre. If you would like more information on this, I did a full video over on Space Tomato 2. I'll link it down below for you, and I'll probably be covering it throughout its development. Juicy. I'm loving this one. Starship Simulator is a game that I briefly took a look at a while ago, but hadn't seen an update in a while. We are getting a more significant look at the developer process, and it's looking like that Elite Dangerous successor I didn't really know I wanted, with a little bit of Star Citizen mixed in the first-person experience. It's got highly detailed spaceships with a focus on realism and immersion. They're all designed actually to be operated pretty successfully by one solo player. That is because it will include NPC crew. You're going to be able to assign crew to different seats in your ship, and they will actually be able to fly you places you want to go. Right now, they're currently testing NPC locomotion through the use of a vacuum cleaner. No, seriously, this is testing their grime and damage simulation on the interior of ships, while also testing NPC locomotion. I think it looks great the way that they're designing this and building it. Be pretty efficient in its process. Speaking of the ships and their interiors, you can also customize your ship with the click of a button, changing out entire decor sets so that you don't have to go around and place everything manually every single time. You can play piano in the game using a MIDI keyboard, which I think will be really cool to play piano for your friends while you're flying around. Oh, it is a multiplayer game. You will have friends. And it's a big game. Like I said, this is like Elite Dangerous. They're currently simulating 18 million star systems across a 2,000 light-year span of distance. Traveling across that entire galaxy is going to take you somewhere around 7 hours to do. So this is the sort of game that really wants you to feel like you're living in the scale of actual space. Exploration is a big focus of the game, and it's kind of exploration that a lot of people that I think follow this channel for Star Citizen actually want, as opposed to just finding resources and base locations. This is going to be more based around finding celestial bodies, finding specific stars that can support specific types of life, going to different planets that might be going through their own ice age or their own formation, seeing what's going on that planet at that time. In fact, during the update, he showed them arriving at a planet that was going through an ice age, but also had an alien civilization making their population in the place where you could actually live. It seems that the exploration missions are going to be based around this idea of long, medium, and short-range scanning, in which you will locate the star systems you're interested in, jump to the star system to scan around it for the different planets inside, and then jump to each planet to see what it is that it actually holds for you. And yes, there will be alien races that you can find, discover, and even do some level of interaction with in this game. There will be empires scattered across the galaxy that you'll be able to run into, and there will be new life forms that maybe haven't been discovered that you can go and find and, I don't know, exploit? I hope not. Probably though, let's be real. Oh, and one of the best things that you can do is they're gonna put a YouTube video player into the game so you can have Space Tomato up whenever you're flying around space. I'm wondering how long that's going to last, because that seems like it'll be, I don't know, a little bit of a complication. Finally, one last interesting detail. They are working on their own GPT so that they can have some level of NPC dialogue that gets generated based on whatever the game is feeding data to them. So if something happens specifically, they don't have to write the lines for it. They could just have a GPT engine go ahead and create the lines to make some sort of logical sense. We'll see how that works at scale, but I do think it's an interesting idea. The only thing I'm really waiting to see at this point with this game is how planetary landings are going to work. They have been confirmed, but I'm not sure exactly what the details will be. It seems like there might be some level of uninteraction while you do that, and you just load down onto the planet. Ultimately, this is a good looking game, early in development. Still plenty of time for you guys to check it out, get some news, and come back to it later, but I would suggest keeping it on your radar, and we'll be covering it regularly on this channel. Dual Universe, one of the original pioneers of server meshing in the space sim area, it's gonna be shutting down its servers after a 3-year run after leaving beta in 2022. While it was an awesome concept for a game, and I think it hit a nice niche of space engineers with a little more adventure mixed in, and struggled with some technical problems throughout its lifetime, and it never really found the audience it was looking for, I think. Luckily, while the official servers will be shutting down, player-hosted servers will still run the game for those interested in playing. This was just announced on their website, and in the name of not killing games, the team is also looking to move the infrastructure of the game, both client and server, to an open source license. Huge props to the team at NovaQuark for this initiative. I hope it goes well for them in the future of Dual Universe. Dune Awakening, my sand brothers and sisters. Do you hate cheaters? Well, guess what? Funcom put out an announcement on their website that they will be disabling the Steam family sharing feature for the game due to abuse and horrible cheaters. This is gonna be crappy for people who depend on family sharing, and unfortunately, they do not have a date at which this will be resolved. They did say it will be by the end of this year, but really, who knows when it comes to game development, things can pop up. The game also got an update to version 1.1.17. Not really a huge update, mainly just a hot fix, but it did include more rock islands in the deep desert, primarily in the PvE area, to allow for more resources to be found and real estate for base building. This will go live on July 29th. Wildgate. It's a bit similar to what we've seen from Jump Ship, actually. It's focused on getting a crew together, going into your ship, and going out to battle with other folks. Except this time, it's not PvE like Jump Ship. You're actually battling with other folks. It's mainly focused on exploration, finding and looting different materials, and upgrading your starship before going to battle with other groups in the area. You'll also be looking for something called artifacts, which are a special item that allow you to travel through the Wildgate. In the meantime, like I said, you will be contending with other groups of people. They will be also trying to explore and find things and upgrade their ships. So it plays out a bit like an extraction shooter with some multiplayer space flight and PvP first-person shooting. Generally, the game will be focused on running 5 teams of 4, starting out each match with a general sense of PvE looting and exploration before the combat starts to kick off as everyone goes for these artifacts items in the later stage of each match. When I say match, I'm talking anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes of a gameplay session. So this is actually a pretty solid game for that Friday night, just want to jump in and have some fun with friends that we are looking at Jump Ship for. But I won't lie, the style of this is a little bit more cartoony than I like. Even Jump Ship was getting a little there. So it'll be nice to see how the gameplay overwhelms that disgusting self-absorbed sense of graphic superiority that I have. Honestly, it's another productive take on this formula that we're starting to see with space-based party games that remind you of Sea of Thieves, and I love to see it. Many fans of our next game will actually be quite used to that. Void Crew, a well-known PC game with a similar premise to Jump Ship and Wildgate, has just announced that they are getting a console release in September. This wasn't really that expected, to be honest, but it's gonna do a lot to help this multiplayer game find a new audience, I think, and get some more legs, because this one's been out for a little while. This also raises some pressure on Jump Ship, as I just said, is going to try and go to early access this summer, which is really close to this. Now, with Wildgate releasing last week, we're seeing this area of space-based party games really heat up, and we'll be keeping a close eye on it over the next few months. And that, my friends, is your space-based game news this week. Space-based games news. We've got a lot of interesting developments going on. Honestly, we don't have a lack of things to talk about here. It is just a great time to be a space nerd in gaming. Go space. If you enjoy these weekly news drops and you want to see more, please let me know down in the comments what you like, what you don't like. Give me that feedback. This is just the second episode, and I'm looking to expand it and continue it running for quite a while. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for the feedback on last week's episode, guys. This is all new to me, and every little bit helps. I just want to make sure I get you guys the right information, the right B-roll, the good stuff, and also not look entirely like a doofus on camera. And there we go. I just want to be smooth, you know? I truly love space, the games that are built in them, and the community surrounding it. If you want more daily deep dives, feature watches, reactions, and news drops, I actually cover more over on my second channel, Space Tomato 2, but I'd go check that out. But thank you so much for watching this all the way till the end. I hope you got some good information today, and I'll see you next week.